welcome. This is Crafting with Natalia. My name is Natalia. If you're new here, welcome to my crazy channel. And if you're a returning viewer, also welcome. I'm so happy that you're coming back to see me. And today I have a bit of a different video. So everybody right now is doing like whip parades and year reviews and stuff like that. So, and of course I love summarizing a year. You know, it's such a great feeling at the end of the year to look at what you've done, what you've achieved, and think about like goals for the new year. And you know, it's just very motivating, like at the start of the new year. I love it. It's like one of my favorite times of the year. So I feel very excited. And I'm a scientist, so I wanted to summarize properly what I've done this year. So I decided to do something different. I was a little bit inspired by Teresa, a little stitcher, who did something similar. She kind of made like a presentation kind of thing, and she was showing all her whips and what she's done and like what did they look before. And I thought, oh, it's such a great idea. So today this is a video fully about cross stitch, no other crafts, because this is what I've been mostly doing in 2023. My main craft was cross stitch, and I really am every month I feel like I'm falling more and more in love with cross stitch. So it's really the driving force of my channel right now and of my life. And you know, most of my posts and videos at the moment are and probably will be for the foreseeable future about cross stitch. So if you're new here, that's what you can expect. Although I also do other crafts. I have lots of diamond paintings that I really need to work on at some point. I also have, I've just been tidying up and I've got lots of yarn. I kind of try and do a little bit of crochet. I'm a beginner kind of crocheter. I don't know. So occasionally you may see me do some crochet, and who knows, sometimes I may try some other crafts and share them with you as well. I was hoping that, so if you're a returning viewer, you will know that 2023 has been a bit of a tough year for me. Some things have happened that kind of made me take time off social media, also some time off work. And so I've been slowly getting back to regular kind of posts on Instagram and on here on YouTube. And you know, the past few months I've been posting shorter videos mostly, and I haven't done regular floss tube in a long time, I feel. Probably my Christmas video was the most floss tubey video I've posted recently. So if you want to check that one out, if you're interested, then I will link it up in the eye above. And I think I always point at the wrong side because I think it's different. Once I post it on YouTube, it's always on the other side that I think it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There's also a small giveaway at the end of that video. So if you're into some Christmas crafting, you may be interested in that as well. And I won't be drawing the winner today, so you still have a chance to go back and enter, because this is not a normal video. So this is more like a review video. So I am hoping to get back to recording more regular floss tube type of videos. I've got lots of goals for this year. Well, lots, no, I'm not a planner. I don't stick to my plan. So it's more general kind of goals. But I do want to keep track. I think one thing that I've been quite good at in 2023, I want to get even better at, is keeping track of, there's always an ambulance in my video. I swear, always. At least one. Sorry, so I'm hoping to be even better in 2024 at keeping track of my stitching. And having these videos doing floss tubes really help, because when I do a floss tube, I take a picture of my project at that point, and I think it's just really good for me to just keep track of what I've been working on throughout the year. So I think that's what social media is really good for, is like having a diary of what I've been doing. But I also am using a spreadsheet from Teresa Little Stitcher as well. I've downloaded the new spreadsheet, and I will be also using that again, because that worked really well for me last year, to track my stitches. The projects I stitched on. So that's what I'll be doing. So I'm hoping to come back to regular floss tube videos, just to let you know. Probably not very frequent ones, because I do have a very busy job. and it's just too hard. It's too hard to find the time to record, but it's not just the recording, it's the preparation for the video as well as editing it afterwards. That takes a long time, and then posting it on YouTube, doing a thumbnail, doing a description, blah blah blah. It just takes a long time, and I don't have a whole lot of time, and when I do have free time I want to stitch or do other things with my husband or friends or whatever. So there's a bit of commotion outside, and there's a police car, and I don't know, there was some shouting before this video, so hopefully nothing happens. But if there's noise in the background, I'm really sorry. I live in London, if you don't know that. And London, well, I'm in quite a busy area next to a busy road, so there is constantly noise, constantly cars, ambulances, and currently police. So there's always stuff going on around here. Okay, but anyway, what I want to do today, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, so I'm a little bit nervous about this, because I've spent a lot of time preparing this presentation for you guys. So basically I did a scientist thing. I made a kind of conference style no, just a normal presentation, PowerPoint presentation, where I've put everything like some stats for this year, for last year, for 2023, the projects I finished, the projects I worked on, the projects I started. So I kind of did a summary of everything, and I wanted to put it all in one place, because I feel like I've got stuff lying around everywhere in my flat, and it's really hard for me to gather everything. A lot of finishes I don't have anymore, so I would have to be inserting pictures, then you have to insert pictures of where they were before, and it's just the editing of that is a bit of a nightmare. Whilst I could just sit and do the presentation and put everything together beforehand, and I think now I don't have to worry. Now I just need to record it, talk to you guys about my, like, what I put in the presentation, about my year, and then I can just hopefully quite quickly post it on YouTube. So hopefully that will work out. However, I'm worried I will have some technical issues with my laptop, because my laptop doesn't have a great microphone, plus also I'm not quite sure how I can record and export such a long presentation, and if I will have issues with that. So fingers crossed it's gonna work, guys. I will see you at the end of it. Hopefully everything will be fine, but I think, well, for now we won't know, but we will try to do this. I hope you enjoy it. I suspect it's going to be a long one, so grab some coffee or tea. I also have some tea, because I know it's going to take a while. I did a lot in 2023. It was a busy year for me, stitch-wise, but it's so nice to see everything summarized. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'll see you on the other side. Okay, guys, so this is the official start of my cross-stitch presentation, cross-stitch year in review for 2023 for Crafting with Natalia. So I'm very excited about doing this, and I hope that you will enjoy this as much as me. This is in no way an official conference-style presentation or anything like this. This is not going to be professional in any way. It's just going to be for fun, just a friendly kind of chat with you guys to show you what I've achieved and what I didn't achieve in 2023, and yeah, just share some stats with you and some progress, and yeah, I hope you like it. Okay, so let's get started. So the very first thing I wanted to share with you is some very basic kind of stats, but I quite like looking at, you know, at some numbers as well, because yeah, I am a scientist, so I like numbers. So first of all, in 2023, I stitched for a total of 328 days. So that is quite a lot. In one way, I'm really happy because it's a big number, you know, it's a lot of days that I managed to stitch. On the other hand, I realized that leaves more than a month of days, more than a month that I haven't actually stitched, that I didn't stitch anything. But there's multiple reasons for that. So of course, as I said, I did have a tough year, and you know, there was some family issues going on, there was some personal issues going on, work was very busy. As well as I also do other crafts, as I said as well, and I know that there was sometimes that I would only do crochet or only do diamond painting, and I just didn't get a chance to touch my cross stitch. So that's what happens when you're a multi-crafter. It is very hard to find time for all the crafts, all the different crafts in your day. So sometimes we have to choose between what we want to do. So I still think 328 is a decent number. Now, I have a little breakdown here of how many days I stitched by month. So you can see that, you know, it's been pretty even, except for September, which was that month that I did have family troubles and I had to travel to Poland. And there was just, you know, there was quite a few days that I just didn't get a chance, or I wasn't in a mood for stitching. But most of the months I managed to stitch for majority of the month. So I thought that was really good. So yes, so we've covered the total days stitched off were 328. Now total whip stitched on was 42. So in 2023 I managed to stitch on 42 whips, which is quite a lot of whips, I think. So I am the kind of person who loves to start new projects and who also loves to switch between different projects. So I don't like to stitch on one whip for too long because I just get a little bit, I don't want to say bored, but I just lose the excitement, you know, if I just keep stitching on one whip. So I do prefer to pick up another one, put this one aside, and then, you know, and then another one, and then another one. And then eventually after a few months, I will come back to that first one. It depends. Sometimes I'm more, I try and stitch, you know, for a longer period of time. Sometimes it may just be a day that I spend on a whip. But basically, I try to break down how many days I stitched on each of these whips. And it's really hard to show it here because it's nice to see on my Excel spreadsheet where I have them all listed and I can sort them by how many I stitched on, how many days I stitched on each of them. But here is quite hard to show just because it's so many of them that they will never fit in on my screen. So just to kind of demonstrate to you how it looks overall, but you can't really see properly. On the next slide, I have this breakdown. Let me just show it. Bear with me, guys, by the way, as I'm trying to work out how to do this recording presentation because I don't really fully understand how PowerPoint does this. So there may be weird things happening on the way. So yeah, just bear with me. But basically, here's my very, very big plot that you can't really read, and I don't expect you to read this. But it's just something that I tried to make of how many days I stitched on each project. And I can just tell you that my top, let's say my top 5 projects was, first one was Historical Sampler Company SAL, which actually makes sense because it was a SAL I was doing almost every day. So in December I was doing it almost every day, and before December I had to stitch the frame. So it did take quite a few days, but overall every day was just a little bit of stitching. And then my next one was the Honey Makers, which I'm going to show you further down the presentation. Hummingbird Pixie, Letter C, which you actually haven't seen on my channel, so I will show you that as well, my finishes. And Fairy Tales Live on the Roofs was the 5th top one. So that's interesting. There's a lot of small projects here, so a lot of them were small, like, you know, some ornaments or small Christmas or non-Christmas stitching, so they didn't take many days to finish. So a lot of the time it actually took me less than 5 days to actually finish a project. So that's why it's quite hard also, like the number of days doesn't actually reflect the number of finishes, so that's quite interesting. Now let me see how I can switch to the next slide. I can't figure out because I stopped and then I restarted and now it's not letting me do it properly. So I'm gonna try to stop this and move to the next slide. Okay, I think I'm getting a hang of it. I'm trying to trick PowerPoint into thinking this is a new presentation. Anyway, you don't need to know any of this. But as I was trying to sort out my PowerPoint, I realized that I forgot to mention one thing. There is 6 projects at the very end of this plot, where right now my face is, but hopefully I can move my face out of the way somehow. But there was 6 projects in this in 2023 that I only touched for like a day, but it wasn't like a full day, it was more like an hour. It's kind of worth of stitching, so maybe like 100, 200 stitches or something. And I didn't think that that's worth mentioning, really. I don't really think that this counts as them really being stitched on. So it was more like I thought maybe I will stitch on them, but then I tried and I was like, I don't really feel like stitching on these. And then I never touched them since then. So I decided to not include them as my whips that I stitched on, and to not include them in this presentation. So really the whips that I will be focusing on today are on the next slide, and it's these ones here. And I believe these are my 42 whips, if I remember correctly. It's been a week now since I made this presentation, so I don't really remember anymore what I've done. I had a busy working week, and and I don't know, I got a bit overwhelmed with how to record this thing as well, so I left it for a few days. But we're doing it now. So these are the 42 whips we will be talking about today. And first of all, I wanted to give you another statistic. So in 2023, I finished a total of 21 projects. Now that sounds like a big number, but actually most of them were small projects. There was quite a few projects that I finished as gifts towards the end of the year, like Christmas gifts, which were quite small. And even earlier in the year, I did pick up quite a few projects that were quite small in size. So I didn't really have any very big impressive finishes. I just had quite a few small finishes. But still, 21 finishes, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that number. And now if I go back to my plot I was showing you earlier, the ones that I highlighted in white, these are the projects that I finished in 2023. So that's that. It's quite nice. Like you can see that, I don't know, like basically from the whips I stitched on, half of them I managed to finish. So that's quite a nice breakdown, isn't it? And then another point I wanted to make was that I had in 2023 I had 31 starts, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. That's a lot of starts. Which I realized that I am a bit of a serial starter. But again, a lot of them were small starts. And the interesting thing that I wanted to show you as well is that, so these are, I can't remember what I've done anymore. So this is the plot I've just shown you. Now, if I now highlight the ones that I started in 2023, you can see that, well, actually I highlighted the ones that I started and finished. So the brown ones now show you how many I started and finished. So majority of my starts I actually finished, which is great, I think. So you know, I think I'm happy with this. Although I started 31 whips, overall I finished 21 projects. And so majority of the ones I started, I managed to finish, although there are quite a few that I will be taking over to next year. So basically my conclusions from all of this nonsense is that the majority of whips that I worked on were new starts. So I didn't really get a whole lot of work on my older whips. I really felt like just starting new things in 2023. And so out of 42 whips that I stitched on, 31 were new starts, which makes 74%. Then majority of the projects I finished were small projects. So as you can see, I had 12 finishes, which I finished under 10 days of stitching. Although some of them I stitched like a lot in a day, but still that's not a lot of days. So it means that they were quite small projects. So that was almost 60%. And then only 3 finishes were projects that were carried over from previous years. So I really focus on finishing these new starts. So it seems that what I did in 2023, I picked projects to start that I wanted to finish quite quickly. That, you know, there wasn't so many starts that I started and then put aside. There was more starts that I actually, like, I started and then I consistently stitched on them and I managed to finish them, which I think is a good thing. But one thing that it's leaving me with is still a lot of older whips that I started in previous years and I haven't really made much progress on. So that's something to bear in mind going into 2024. So now let's move on and let's look at my finishes. So I've broken them down into months. I was just basically going through my spreadsheet in chronological order. And so I started going through, well, from January, but I didn't have any finishes in January, in February, or in March. So my first finishes, well, actually I had, but to make up for not having any finishes in the first quarter of the year, I decided I'm going to have 4 finishes in April. So in April 2023, I finished these 4 projects. So it was Henry O'Hare, Lovebird's Wedding Sampler, Berry Patch, and the Uniqueness of Others, so the peacock. And I'm going to show you each of them briefly just so you can see what they looked like and just give you some more details about them. So the first one, which I started in March 16, so you can see some dates here, how long it took me. So they all took me around a month, or between a month and less than 2 months to finish all of them. So they were all new starts in 2023. So the first one, my first finish of 2023 was Henry O'Hare. So that was a chart by Lizzie Kate. I stitched it on Zweigart 32 count Murano in Mint Splash. And he also had these in with the chart. You have included that little spade and that little pocket watch and the little rose that you pin on his chest. And so I've attached these as well. And then I just framed him like this and stood on my, like, what do you call it? It's not a shelf, but it's like a little, like a cupboard kind of thing. Anyway, so it was nice. It was just in time for Easter, so I was very happy with that. And I have his wife that I still haven't stitched. I want to stitch her on pink. So also Murano in pink splash or whatever it's called, but it's a similar fabric just in pink. And I think they would look lovely as a couple. So I may try and do it this year. I don't know. I will see. Most of my projects are stitched 2/2, and most of them are stitched in DMC. So already there isn't very much excitement there in terms of the threads I use. The second finish of the year was the Lovebird's Wedding Sampler from the Historical Sampler Company. That one is exception to the rule because that one I stitched 1/1 on 25 count, just because I wanted it to be smaller and more compact. I didn't want it to be such a large finish, and I did modify the chart slightly. So I removed the main frame. So, well, I made the heart a little bit smaller, so I didn't stitch all of the borders of the frame, all of the borders of the heart. And also I didn't stitch the square frame around it as well, which I think that was because I was running out of time as well. And also that was a lot of stitching in that one. And I don't know, I think I just got tired of it. I was like, I'm just going to make it smaller because it's too much stitching. But I am quite happy with the final result. Although I am not a fan of stitching 1/1, and I'm not a fan of stitching with one thread, so it was a bit painful and not something that I would necessarily want to do again. But it did turn out okay in the end. And the fabric was 25 count Lugana in Nougat. Then the next one, that one I really enjoyed stitching. That's one of my favorite finishes for 2023. So that's Berry Patch by Hello from Liz Matthews. And the fabric I used was also, you'll see a theme there, is 32 count Murano from Zweigart in light taupe, I think that's how you say it. I use my own kind of DMC conversion. I mean, it is charted in DMCs, but the original colors are quite pale. They're a bit more muted, and I like bright and cheerful colors, so I've just switched the colors to a different set of DMCs, just from my own stash. And I'm very happy with the result. I think it turned out great, and it's such a happy finish. It's a lovely project to stitch in spring or summer. Yeah, it's just, it was very nice and easy to stitch, very quick to stitch. So I really enjoyed that one for sure. Okay, and then the final finish for April was the uniqueness of others, which was a peacock. I just called it peacock, so I didn't even know that was the title until now. And that was charted by Yasmin's Made with Love, and I think it was a sale at the time, because Yasmin was running her marathon, and I can't remember now what the hashtag was, but we were stitching Yasmin's designs for her marathon. And this one, again, is exception to the rule because it was stitched 1/2, so just one strand, because I stitched it on 46 count linen. I wanted to kind of trial it out. I was curious about 46 count, and I was curious about, you know, what's the coverage like, what does one strand on 46 count look like, and yeah, I was happy with how it turned out. But again, I'm not a fan of stitching with one strand of floss. But that's, you know, the result is I think it's quite nice. And I finished it in a hoop. So I bought the hoop from my usual place where I buy these painted hoops from, just, I think, Stitch Kids hoops. I did mention the shop in my previous video, so if you pop over to that one, you can check in the description of that one. Okay. So now we're moving on to May. So in May, I only had one very small finish. That was a finish for Smalls Exchange at a retreat, and that was the title of it was Princess Bee. And this one, it just took me a few days to stitch. So this is what she looked like. This is again one of my favorite finishes. I think she's just so cute. I love cute little stitches like that. I love these designs with lots of backstitch, and I added some cranic to this one on her wings as well as on her crown. And I just think she is gorgeous. And I stitched her on this 32 count Murano mocha and white flower. So there's this printed flower pattern in the back. And this chart, I've seen it on multiple Etsy shops, but the one I bought it from was Cross Stitch Patterns. Sorry again about the noise. Okay, so yeah, so she was very cute, and again she's finished in a hoop from the same shop. I will try and put it in the description if I remember the name of that shop, just in case if you're interested, because I did use quite a few hoops from them in 2023. And did I want to say anything else? No, I think that's it. Okay, so let's move on. So then I had one finish in June. Now that finish I haven't actually shared with you properly, guys, here. I've posted it on Instagram, but not really on YouTube. I was meant to record a video and I just never got around to it. So for now there hasn't been a video showing it properly, but I will try and make it happen in 2024 because I wanted to share it with you properly as well. For now, I will show you. So this is one of the projects. I will just show you the picture, sorry. So this is one of the projects that I started in 2022. And this was kind of my own idea, so it's really my own design. And initially I started it on a different fabric, and it didn't look good. Then I completely changed it, the design as well as the fabric. I still didn't really like it very much, so I stopped stitching on it, and I only picked it up in June 2023. And I managed to finish it. So I stitched on it for quite a few days, and I managed to finish it in June. So I just have a couple of pictures here. I'm not sure if they're the best pictures, but you can find more on Instagram as well. And I will try to post a video to show you properly, guys, this biscornu. But it's called a daffodil biscornu. Well, it's called, I just called it daffodil biscornu. Sorry, I'm reading off this line and this doesn't make any sense. So, so it's stitched on, also on 32 count Murano in apple green from Spygard. It's stitched 2/2, and it's got quite a bit of back stitch and some beads in it as well. Actually, no, looking at these, I feel like these pictures don't show you the best view. So I may try and add like maybe swap one of them. I don't know, later on. I'll see how I get on with this presentation. But yeah, it's really hard with biscornus. That's the problem with them. That it's maybe I should put one before I actually made it into biscornu, because once you fold it over into biscornu, it's really hard to find an angle to show everything. And so it's easier actually to show them before you finish them, when they're still in a square format. So maybe I should insert one like that here. I don't know. And we'll see. So maybe I'll add a slide after this, just a silent slide, and you can have a look at the biscornu before I stitched it together, or something like that. I don't know. For now, I'll move on to the next finish. So the next finish well, so the next two finishes actually were in July. So in July, I finished Love is in the Air by Cottage Garden Samplings, as well as Letter C, which is like, well, I'll show you, but it was from Stitches Lovers shop on Etsy. And it was a gift for a friend, so I don't have it anymore. So first of all, Love is in the Air. This one actually I started in 2022, I think. I said it on the previous slide and now I forgot what it said. But I think it was 2022, around maybe springtime. Yeah, I feel like it was spring. It was 2022, wasn't it? It must have been. I think it was 2022. And I started it back then. I did quite a bit of progress, and then I kind of got stuck and I just put it aside. I didn't like it anymore. I was like, I didn't feel motivated to stitch on it, so I didn't. And then I picked it up this year and I was like, I need to finish this because it's going to be lying around forever. And it's a shame to not finish it because I was already so far along that I was like, it was not going to take me so long to finish it. So I decided to try and finish it. And it took me a few months. I kind of picked it up. I think I picked it up in February at first, and I put it down again and didn't finish it. And then picked it up again in summer and managed to finish it in July. And so this one is also stitched on 32 count Murano. As you can see, this is my favorite count. I love even weave, so most of my projects are stitched on even weave. The color, it says, I think I bought it on Etsy and it said it was dark blue, not on Etsy, on eBay, and it said it was dark blue, but really it's not dark, it's just like this kind of grayish blue. So it's not like a very intense blue, and it's not very dark. It's a little bit dark, but not very dark. Again, this one, I didn't make a proper video about this. So in 2024, I think I actually recorded it and I just never posted it. So I will try and edit that one that I recorded back in 2023, and I should post it at the start of 2024, hopefully. Again, this is one of the shorter videos when I just show one finish at a time. So I will try to throw that in on my channel over the coming weeks. It was mostly stitched with DMCs, but I did pick up some weeks dye works from Patchwork Rabbit. I just ordered some that were kind of pinkish red, and actually the doves themselves, they're not white, they're stitched in Bashful by Weeks Dye Works, but really it just looks like white, so I'm not sure what's the point. But I bought it because I was I didn't want them to be just completely white, so I thought I'll try something that's like whitish and see what they look like. Yeah, so it wasn't the charted colors. It was just I think I couldn't find the ones that were charted, and I just ended up ordering some other ones instead, and that's what I ended up with. And it's stitched 2/2. In the end, I really like how it looks like in the picture, and it's on my shelf, and I really like what it looks like when it just stands there, and I can see the doves, and they're really, yeah, they're cute, I think. So after I framed them, even though I wasn't sure about them, but I think the more I look at them, the more I like them. I think they're quite cute. Yeah. And I started them, I think quite soon after me and my hubby. I don't know. I'm really getting mixed up now with everything in the timeline when things happen. But we got engaged and we got married very soon after. So I think, and we did get married. So bad. I'm getting so confused with the years. But we got married in 2022 and we got engaged just at the start of the 2022. So I think I started it quite soon after we got engaged, and I maybe thought I was going to finish it by the time we got married, but that never happened. So at least I finished it now, and it's now nice to have it kind of for me and my husband to look at as well. I think he quite likes it too. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. So the next one was a gift from my friend, and I just wanted to give her something. She's quite a kind of, she's a young lady. and you know, she's very girly, so I wanted to give her something that's also quite like girly and modern. You know, I was hoping that she may like, you know, maybe not like a traditional cross stitch, but something more modern. And so her name starts with letter C. So I was looking on Etsy at different charts, and I found these alphabet, like letters of alphabet on the background of these flowers. And I thought, oh, that would be a nice thing to stitch for her. So I got the letter C from the Stitches Lovers shop on Etsy, and I stitched it on a 32 count Pearl Snow, I think that's what it's called, Pearl Snow Iridescent Murano. So it's a very nice sparkly Murano. I love it. It's one of my favorite fabrics to use for sure. And it was a really nice thing to stitch actually, because the colors are very bright and they really pop on the white. They're really lovely colors. Very, very nice and cheerful and bright. I love them. I love the pinks and the greens. And then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, because there's quite a lot of like blocks, small blocks of colors, so it stitches up quite quickly. So it didn't take me very long to stitch this one. Yeah, it was yeah, just because of these, like there's not much confetti, and you can just stitch one block of color at a time. It's quite a nice project to stitch on, I think, for me at least. So I quite enjoyed this one. But yeah, I gave this one away now, so I don't have it anymore. And I just popped it in this gold kind of frame with some mat board around as well. Okay, so now we're moving to August. Let me just have some tea. So in August, I finished two projects. One was the Big Bird Cage and Flowers by The Little Room in the Attic, and the second one was the First Day of Christmas by Hello from Liz Matthews. So First Day of Christmas is the third project, so the last project that I managed to finish that was carried over from previous years. So one was the Daffodil Biscornu, one was Love in the Air. Love is in the air, I think. That I was just showing you, the two doves. And this is the third one. So the First Day of Christmas is the third project that I carried over from previous years and managed to finish. So again, none of them are very big finishes as well. So I really need to work on stitching on consistently on some bigger projects. I think that's something I really need to try and do more of. Or maybe this is just a stitcher I am. Maybe I'm just a small project stitcher. Maybe I don't do big projects. Maybe that's it. Which there's also, I guess there's nothing wrong with that, is there? So I don't know. So yes, and so I don't remember exactly where I started the First Day of Christmas. It looks here like it was December 2021, but I think I'm just estimating it. I think it was sometime around Christmas 2021, but I'm not entirely sure. And with Big Bird Cage and Flowers, that one was another gift. So again, it's something I gave away. And that one I started in July and finished a month later in August. So let me show you. So Big Bird Cage and Flowers. This is a design by The Little Room in the Attic, which you can find. She's got a website now, and also you can find her on a website called Pinkoi. So you can buy her designs there. And this one I bought after I did go through quite a difficult period of my mental health, and I just wanted to say thank you to someone who's helped me quite a lot through that period. And I just thought this was a very kind of meaningful like picture, like image. You know, that bird that's sitting on the cage, not inside the cage, and kind of has an option of going in or flying away. And it's a really pretty design. It's a watercolor style kind of image with a lot of backstitch. So there's a lot of blends in there, a lot of backstitch in lots of different colors. It's very detailed. It's much more work than it looks actually. This one took quite a lot of work. And this one I did post a video about. So in my videos from probably, I don't know, I can try and link it, but there's too many videos to link. So if you look through my previous videos from the past few months, you will find a video where I show this one in detail. This one was also stitched on 32 count Murano, this time in color plum. I think I just bought it from Wool Warehouse. It was stitched in DMCs. I also added some sparkly thread, some cranic into the cage just to make it sparkle just a little bit. And it was stitched 2/2. And then the first day of Christmas, yeah, so this one this one was an old start. Like this one I started back in 2021, and I think I stitched on it back then for quite a few days. I got maybe like 1/3 of it done, and then I just kind of decided to just put it in a box, and I didn't stitch on it until pretty much 2023, I think, when I decided to just persevere with it and finish it. So it was a nice stitch, but I wasn't convinced. I don't know. I wasn't convinced about the colors. I think if I was to restitch it, I would restitch it possibly on a different fabric. I wasn't a big fan of this fabric. So this was a fabric from Embroidery Designs, 32 count even weave in Cassis. Cassis, I don't know how to say this. But I think it's from French. But anyway, it's a nice kind of light purple, but it wasn't like the most beautiful fabric I've had, and I think I just wasn't really enjoying it. So I don't know. For some reason, I didn't like maybe how the colors were looking on that fabric. Maybe they weren't like bright enough. They were a little bit kind of, they looked a bit dirty, you know? But they weren't actually dirty. It's just that they weren't like bright and standing out from the fabric, you know? So I think maybe if I was to restitch it, I would maybe use brighter. I don't know. I did change already. I think the greens I changed already. The greens were mine, I think. I think I converted them to some other greens because I didn't like the original greens, I think. But in the bird as well, you can't really see the bird very well. So I don't know. I don't know. It's all right. Like, I'm glad I finished it, but it's not my favorite finish. And it's kind of like something maybe I should restitch differently in the future. I don't know, but not in 2024, for sure not. Maybe at some point, one day. Okay, and then moving on to October now. In October, I had 2 finishes, and they were both very small, very small. So one of them was a small for a smalls exchange, which I made a video about, and it's actually going to be better to, if you look at the video, just because it's a hard one to photograph, because it was stitched on a wooden box on the front of it. So there wasn't really a good angle to show the whole thing on a picture, and it wasn't really, the colors weren't really looking right as well for some reason. So I recommend, if you want to see it properly, there's a video that I recorded a couple months ago, so you can look at that. But I will show you a picture anyway. And then also I stitched a very small design from Mama Loves You GB, which was a freebie. I think it was a freebie for the London Stitch in London retreat. And so I attended a workshop with Michelle from Mama Loves You GB at that retreat, and she was showing us how to finish ornaments from stitched on perforated paper. So I tried to stitch it quickly a few days before the retreat. So first of all, the wooden box. That was my small for the retreat. So again, the picture isn't great. It's really hard to see the colors properly. But it's a design by Sweet Annette, from, which you can find on Etsy. It's I believe, a Polish shop. And she's got lots of these cute little designs that you can fit. She also sells the wooden bits, like the parts of the box that you can stick together. And you can stitch that design in front of your box as well. As she sells like different types of boxes, or even like some small coffins that you can stitch Halloween designs on. So there's lots of cute things on there. So and you know, some small cute little designs that you can stitch up quite quickly. So I recommend you check that shop out. I'm not sure. I think these boxes are around 14 count. I'm not quite sure. Like these wooden holes, how big they are, but probably around 14 count. And so it's because it's kind of like Ada, so it's stitched 2 over 1. And then this is my Herbert the Owl from Mama Loves You GB. So that was stitched on black perforated paper, which I think is 14 count. It's got lots of beads as well as DMC. I did mix up the colors. And also my beads just wouldn't lie. I'm very bad at making my beads point the right direction, so they're a little bit wonky, but that's all right. So yeah, the colors are a bit different, and also I stitched, I didn't quite realize, so because it was black perforated paper, so it's quite it's quite hard to get a nice coverage, because when you're stitching with 2 strands, there's a little bit of that black coming through. So really I should have stitched it with 3 strands, but I didn't really know that at the time until I stitched like, I don't know, half of it or something, and I was like, okay, I should have probably done more strands, but it was too late at that point. So I think he's still cute. Maybe not perfect, but cute. Okay. And then, I'm getting quite tired now, guys. It's a lot of finishes, isn't it? I may have to take a break at some point and come back to this presentation later on and record the next part, because I think like this is gonna be too much for me to record in one go. But for now, let's move to my finishes in November. So I had 3 small finishes in November. They were all Christmas finishes. So they were all stitched in quite a short space of time. You know, you can see less than 2 weeks, or even less than a week. So very short projects, small projects. So the first one, I really enjoyed stitching this one. It did take me a bit longer because there's actually quite a bit of stitching in it, in the tree and also in the border. And there's some backstitch, some beading, as well as some sequins on top, which I stitched them with cranic. So you stitch around the sequin to kind of make them into little ornaments on the tree, which I thought was really cool, and I quite enjoyed doing that. So that was my retreat finish for Floss Friends retreat. I did show it in my last video, so if you want to see it properly in a video format, please hop over. Actually, all of these finishes from now on, I think, all of the Christmas finishes will have been shown in my last video. So pop over there if you want to see them in more detail on a video format. This one was, as quite a few of them were, stitched on the 32 count Murano in this lovely sparkly iridescent pearl snow. And yes, I did add, well, actually no, I think it was charted with cranic, or maybe possibly with another sparkly thread. I'm not sure. I just used cranic and DMC. Although these are not the original design DMC colors for the tree. The greens I changed because I think I just couldn't find the ones. Well, I was probably being lazy and it was too much effort trying to find them, so I just picked some different greens. So it's slightly different from charted, but I think still really cute. I really like this design. Again, this hoop is from the same shop. I will try and put a link below in case if you're interested in these hoops. And another, oh yeah, I didn't say that previous design was from Fabi Really Designs, and this one is also from Fabi Really Designs. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I pronounce it. And this one is stitched on the same fabric, so the lovely sparkly Murano. And it's stitched pretty much as charted, with a small exception that I did add some cranic as backstitch to these gold ribbony bits. They've got backstitch around them, and I stitched it in cranic gold instead of DMC. And yeah, and well, this was meant to be a biscornu, but it ended up being just a square kind of hanging pillow ornament. But I kind of finished it like similar as you do a biscornu, with like this border around, and you just stitch the borders together. So I just modified it. Instead of doing biscornu, I just made it into a normal type of pillow, but it's a very similar thing. You can join them either way, basically. So all of these Christmas finishes, I've given them all away, and I love them so much that I think I will restitch them all at some point. I loved both the tree and the biscornu, which is not a biscornu. I love stitching them so much that I love to stitch them again, I think, and maybe the next time I will actually try to make it into a biscornu instead. Okay, and then the red angel, that's another thing I'm definitely restitching because I love these angels so much. I got these angels, so there's 3 different ones. So far I stitched 2, I gave them away, so I have to stitch them again, and there's a 3rd one that I haven't stitched yet. All of these angels I got from Stitch by Soul on Etsy, and they were stitched on perforated plastic, which I believe is 14 count, just a white perforated plastic. I'm not sure if there's any other kind of perforated plastic. I prefer perforated plastic to perforated paper. If I have a choice, I will always choose plastic over paper because I just don't trust paper. But with perforated paper, the advantage is that you can get different colors. So that's why my Herbert the Owl was stitched on perforated paper, because I needed a black one, and I don't think they make perforated plastic in black. So I don't know. Can you paint it? I don't know. Let me know, guys, if you know of perforated plastic in different colors. I would love to hear if it exists and where can you buy it. Or can you paint white perforated plastic to make it colorful and not ruin your stitching? Okay. So now I got lost. What was I saying? Yes, the angel. So again, so this one's got beads as well. So it's stitched in DMC, but it's got beads, and also it has some cranic. So I just use that gold cranic. That I have lots of cranic in stash, so I just pick up. And also I have some other gold threads that I got from my friend Edita, and also I have some Petite Treasure braid. So I have a big box full of sparkly threads because I love sparkly threads, and I just pick them as I need, when I need, and I just pick the color that I like the most at the time. So a lot of time I don't even know which one I used. I just used some gold that I found in my box, basically. Okay. And then that's December. So in December we have how many? 7 finishes, right? Okay, so wow, so 1/3 of my finishes was done in December, but they're all very, very small. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I'm gonna take a break after this, I swear. So they're all very small finishes. Most of them, so yes, I did the Jingle Bells salve from the Historical Sampler Company, and that went on from the 21st of October up until Christmas. And the way I did it is I stitched the border first, and then throughout Advent I was trying to fill in every window with the number, you know, like day 1 I would fill in that window, and day 2 on day 2, and so on. So I was trying to kind of fill it every day in December. But also, so the Historical Sampler Company sent me that stitch along kit for free, just so I can try it out and show it to people. And also they sent me their Advent calendar. And so every day of Advent I was opening something from Advent calendar. You can have a look on Instagram if you'd like to see what was inside. But there was 3 days in the calendar. 3 days in the calendar that included like a small cross stitch kit as well. Like there was a kit included with the Advent calendar with the threads, and then on the day you would get the chart, and you would get also supplies to finish it, like a piece of felt, a piece of cardboard, some hanging thread or something, a ribbon or something, and you could finish it there and then. So I managed to stitch 2 of those kits that were included in the advent calendar. I didn't manage to stitch the 3rd one because I was at that point trying to finish the actual SAL and trying to finish other things as well. So I ran out of time to finish the 3rd kit, but I did finish the first 2, and then I finished some other things to give away to people. So I'm going to show all of this to you now. So first of all, this is the finished Jingle Bell SAL. I will try and show it to you on my next floss tube as well. I need to remember to do that because I haven't shown it like finished in a video. I think I showed it to you when I was working on it in my last video, but it wasn't finished then. So to show it to you finished on a video, I will do it on my next floss tube. So they provided the fabric, which was, I believe it was this Figard fabric, but I'm not sure what the color is called. It was just like this kind of green, which is very non-descriptive, but it was green, and it was 16 count. It was actually very nice to stitch on because it wasn't, you know, usually with the kits you get these super stiff Aida, like it's like stiff and it's not very nice. Just like I don't know, I don't like them very much when they're so. They feel tough on touch, they're not soft, but this one was very nice and soft. I quite enjoyed stitching on it, and I was actually wondering, what did they do something to it to make it so soft? Where did they get it from? I don't know, but it was a nice kind of Aida. It wasn't like the stiff kind of Aida. So I quite enjoyed stitching on it. And they just provided the MC threads with the kit. And yeah, that's it really. I don't know, is there anything else to say about it? I quite enjoyed filling in the windows every day. It was quite fun to have something small to stitch every day. Although I did fall behind towards the end of December, but it was only because I was trying to finish these other things. And I just had to prioritize them and then come back to my advent calendar after. But it was quite fun to stitch overall. Although probably not my normal style of stitching, not something that I would normally pick to stitch, but it was also nice to have something different to stitch on, I guess, to what I would do normally. And you know, it was for free, so why not? Okay, and so one of the kits included in the advent calendar was the reindeer. That was really cute. I guess that one actually came with this, how do you call this? I always forget the word. When you... that thing that you stand it on, what is it called? You know how many times I'm trying to remember that word. When you have like what the artists use to paint on, that stand was included, and like a small stretched canvas, like a very small mini stretched canvas, which is I think like 4 by 4 inches or something, I'm not sure, but that was provided inside the advent calendar. And also the piece of Aida was also provided in the advent calendar, and you just needed to stitch your thing on it and then stick it on. So everything that you needed to finish, including the little ribbon bow, that was all included in the advent calendar, so you didn't need to buy anything separately, which was quite nice. The only thing I changed about this is I added some beads and I think some green greenish kind of. I didn't really have a proper green craning, but I had this blue-green kind that I used for the green bits, the Christmas trees in the bottom and the things on his head. And also the beads, that was my own addition. I just added some pink, I think, and yeah, some white beads for the snow, and then like some red beads as well for his nose and in the bottom. Okay. Again, this was 16 count Aida that they provided. And then the second kit that they provided in the advent calendar was this lovely snowman. He was really fun to stitch. I quite enjoyed stitching him. And again, they provided everything that you need to finish him. Although I actually decided to swap the black Aida that they provided for a sparkly black Aida that I had in my stash. Because I love sparkles, and I thought, okay, I may just as well make use of it because I've got lots of it. At some point I just managed to get like a big piece of it, from this company on Etsy, Lilycraft Supplies TR. I think she's in Turkey. Basically, it was quite cheap, and it was quite, I don't know, I had idea of stitching like I think of a horoscope or something on it, and I thought I need a big piece, so I ordered a big piece. And I still have it all left, so I thought I could use a little bit of it for my snowman. So yes, that's why I stitched it on. And then again, well, I used the red beads they actually provided on another day of the advent calendar. They're a bit bigger than the normal Mill Hill beads, but I also used some Mill Hill beads, I think, for the snow, and some black ones for his eyes and the buttons. But again, it's just all the threads were just DMC that were provided with the kit. And then that's the second angel. The second angel to go with the red angel. They're so cute, honestly, guys. I love these angels so much. So I will restitch them for sure this year, and also I want to stitch the green angel as well. So again, same details as previously, beads, Kreinik, and DMC, and the same designer. And then I stitched very quickly, like in one day, I stitched the Christmas round from Shannon Christine. That was the gift for my mother-in-law. I just wanted to give her some small ornament, and I ran out of time, so I found this pattern. I thought I could stitch it in a day. I'm gonna do it, and that's why I stitched for her in 2023. I think she really liked it. I think I changed, yeah, so one thing I changed is I didn't bead the handles of the vase, and because I actually beaded one and I really didn't like it, so I took the beads out and I instead used Kreinik for the handles. And then I'm not sure if I may have added the white beads in the background. I think they weren't charted, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, and I think I changed the green as well to like a brighter kind of green. But I think that's all the changes I did. I can't quite remember. It was stitched also on this iridescent opalescent kind of, it was a Murano, I should have said Murano, 32 count, so it was an even weave. Yeah, and it was just from Zweigart, so I just got it from eBay here in the UK. Sorry guys, I literally had to take a break because I'm completely losing my voice, so I took like a minute just to breathe. So I'm just gonna record the next two finishes. I think that's the last two finishes now, and after that I think I'm gonna stop for today, or for now at least, and maybe come back to recording this later on, either today or tomorrow, because it's quite a lot of talking and I can't handle that much talking. And I'm getting quite tired, and my brain is getting tired, and probably you guys are getting tired. So I'm wondering, I may even post these as two separate videos. Who knows? I'm not sure yet. For now, I'll just record this part, and then I'll decide what to do later. But so I just have two more finishes left to show you, and they're both, I think it's just two. They're both from the same designer, which is actually, they were released very recently by Lisa from Lost in Stitches. You can find Lisa here on YouTube at Lost in Stitches, and she's got a lovely floss tube channel. She has a wonderful personality, and yeah, she's quite amazing, really. And now she also started designing her own cross stitch patterns. So she opened her store on Etsy, which is called Lost in Stitches store. And these are one of her first two designs. Actually, I think there was a couple more before that, but then she released these two as well as kind of companion pieces. So first is Mary, and the second one is called Bright. I will show you on the next slide. I stitched them both on the same fabric, so it was Pearl Snow Iridescent Murano again, so the sparkly Murano. They're stitched in DMC. And I just added some beads. That's the only change I made, was adding some beads to there. You can see them on the Christmas trees and also in the snowflakes and in the reindeer eyes. But otherwise, it's all stitched as called for. And again, if you want to see them in more detail, please check out my previous video. Sorry, I am really losing my voice here.
So this is Mary, and then the next one is called, oh, now I have to change the slide manually, so let me change the slide. So the next one is called Bright. So this one, I think I like this one even more. I like them both, honestly, I love them both. I picked slightly different colors of beads for the Christmas trees. I picked like purple and pinks. I just kind of wanted to make them slightly different, but they go together so well. And again, these are two designs I would really love to restitch for myself, to have as Christmas decoration in my own house, flat, wherever I live in the future. We are renting currently a very small flat in London. But we are thinking about getting our own place one day, you know, hopefully not in a too distant future, or at least in moving into slightly bigger flat. So, you know, I will be wanting to decorate it as well with some of my cross stitch, seasonally as well, I think. So I would love to stitch some lovely Christmas things, and these two designs, I just really love them. So I would love to restitch them as well, possibly, hopefully this year. I think they didn't take long at all to stitch. It was just maybe a couple of days each of them. If you have one full day of stitching, you can stitch them in a day, probably. So yeah, they're really lovely quick stitches for Christmas, and I recommend you check out Lisa if you haven't found her floss tube yet, if you haven't watched it yet, or if you haven't seen her designs, check her out on Etsy, because yeah, these are really cute, and she's got some other lovely designs as well. And I think this is me done with this part. Okay, now I can switch slides again. Okay. PowerPoint is confusing a lot of me. But anyway, so my next section will be the new starts from 2023. However, I will take a pause break here, I think, and I will come back to this later, possibly tomorrow, because I am already exhausted. And possibly I will end this video here and just post this part on YouTube, and then maybe post part 2 later on. I don't know. So if I do end this video here, I will probably record a small something at the end to add. But I don't know. For now, I will stop here, and I will catch you guys later, which it may be literally in like a few seconds if I decide to put it all in one video, but right now I really don't know what I'm gonna do, and I'm getting really tired. So for now, I'll say bye-bye, and I'll see you later.
Okay guys, so because I'm realizing this video is getting very, very long, I'm thinking maybe we should call it a day here. And this is part 1 of my 2023 year in review. And maybe then I will record the next part separately and post it separately. So also you guys don't have to watch such a long video all in one go. And yeah, maybe it's better to break it down into 2 videos. Yeah, so so I think for now I will say goodbye, but there's part 2 coming, so this is to be continued. I don't know what will be how soon after each other they will be posted. Maybe I'll post this one day and then the other part like a couple days after, so that people get a chance to see the notification that the first one was released. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. But for now, thank you so much for joining me for the part 1 of my cross stitch year in review. I hope that you enjoyed seeing all my finishes for 2023, and I hope that you will come back for the next part where I will show you the whips I worked on, and the new starts as well for 2023. And what I will show in that video will be how much progress I made. So on the whips I already had, I will do the before picture like at the start of the year, and then the picture at the end of the year. So I quite enjoy seeing the comparison from like where I got to, going from January till December. So if you'd like to see that, then please join me on my next video in the part 2. And if this is your first time in my channel and you got all the way until this point and you enjoyed yourself, then please consider as well liking this video and subscribing to my channel so that you can see my future videos as well. And for now, Thank you all for watching. I wish you a very happy new year, and I hope to see you guys very soon again. And for now, have a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next time. Bye.